No, part of his greatness is because of this horrible situation he's been through. He had a full scholarship to Parsons in New York, and French Vogue selected him as one of the hottest designers, and he took classes at École de la Chambre. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have the credentials. He won the grand prize of creation. Chambre syndicale de la couture parisienne. Ah, this salmon looks amazing.
Stuff is no joke. I've seriously been working on it for the past year now. These mainstream moonshine carpetbaggers don't know what they're doing. I'm trying to bring it correct, you know? I'm about transcending the trend, okay? And what's life about? Transcendence!
Welcome to Real Talk. We're lucky enough today to be joined by Brandon Russell, independent filmmaker right here in Washington, D.C. Welcome. Thanks for coming and talking to us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. So you're a recent graduate, American University, right?
Yeah.
Great. And you're already an award-winning independent filmmaker. How does that feel?
You know, it's kind of a shock because actually people say that and I'm like, that happened, huh? It just hasn't really registered with me yet. But yeah, I guess it feels good, I guess. It's been a crazy road for the last few months.
Okay. And this is for your work that you did, The Beaten Path. And tell me a little bit about that. What is The Beaten Path?
So, well, the web series is The Beaten Path Walk of Shame.
Okay.
I did this as a master's thesis at American University, and basically it's what we're calling a visual mixtape. We took this concept of online dating, which everybody's involved with today, and then we kind of mashed that up with a really strong emphasis on music. I'd been hanging around a lot of DJs and had a lot of friends who were going on online dates, and it just was like my life at the moment. So it kind of just turned into this thing that has since grown into what we have today. So
that's pretty cool. So you drew on some personal experience. And were you ever a DJ ever in life? Did you ever do any DJing?
Yeah, I've done a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Since doing the films, I haven't had much time to do it as often as I like. Actually, one of the lead actors in the series, DJ Amin-Ra, I met him while I was an intern for DJ Inferno, who was once Madonna's tour DJ. He's from here in the district as well. So that kind of was like a big piece of, you know, being inspired by that whole culture.
One of the things I thought was interesting, I read about, was that you funded this through a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, I did. Tell
me about that, because it seems to be that that's a way that especially younger filmmakers are going to get their projects funded. I mean, it's definitely an avenue that you can take, and it's a different thing that I guess is sort of a sign of the times, maybe a little bit. But tell me a little bit about that experience and how you feel that complements filmmaking, I guess, these days.
Kickstarter. Wow, that's an amazing thing. I think it's a beautiful thing that exists, but I can tell you it's one of the most trying and tumultuous things you'll ever do in your entire life. I mean, I remember the day that I was about to click the button to actually launch the campaign, and I was like, after this moment, my life is never going to be the same. I just distinctly remember feeling that way, and since then, it's been like that. You're just constantly grinding to hopefully get every dollar out of it you can. And I mean, it's great because you get to see the people who directly support you. So that's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, it's very difficult. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart. If you're ready to do it, by all means, go for it. But you know, once you get that first project under your belt, hopefully you can maybe, you know, find a way to not just have to beg and plead so much.
That's just interesting, though, because like I said, you know, you see some people are doing projects that way, and it sort of makes it so that you have to be, you know, director, producer, marketing manager. You really have to have a lot of different hats to be able to coordinate that effectively, probably, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you go to these web festivals too, when you meet everybody that's involved with it, everybody is everything. You know, social media marketer, director, editor, you name it, they're it. And if you'd seen my Kickstarter video, I kind of pulled out all the stops. So if you get a chance, check that out. It's a pretty crazy video. So.
And what about when you were younger? What was it that inspired you, that brought you down the path that you're on right now? What made you want to be a filmmaker and made you where you are today?
I've always been inspired by art in any medium. For me, it's been music was my first love. I can remember the first time I ever heard the Beatles. You know, coming from an African American household, I was just used to always listening to, you know, soul music. And then my father, who was pretty traveled, he was in the military. You know, he showed up with some Led Zeppelin and some the Beatles and stuff like that. And when I first heard that, I just kind of instantly fell in love with that. And as I started to notice the connection between music and film, I kind of just became enamored with that concept. And it's the one medium where you can kind of combine everything and I've just really wanted to do everything I possibly could. So that's kind of how it started, and that's kind of where I'm at today, and it's reflected in Walk of Shame for sure.
Great, great. And then tell me about a filmmaker that you're fond of, that you think maybe people should know about, maybe they don't know about, that you follow or that you admire the work of.
Ooh, that's always that question always gets me.
Yeah.
You ask any director who their favorite filmmaker is, they can never think of it on the spot. You know, I'm actually very inspired a lot by Asian cinema. I think one of the directors I think of the most is Wong Kar-wai. He's known for doing In the Mood for Love. The thing I like about him is just his style approach to things. He's very, like, he takes his time with things, and the way the shots are framed, it's just very beautiful. And I think in the end, it's also very relatable, although it somehow seems very abstract starting. And I think if you see a lot more of his films, you'll start noticing that, you know, his technique has kind of been embodied by a lot of filmmakers today. So
great. That's awesome. So you've had some success with the Beaten Path right now. What's next for you? What do you think you're going to be doing next, or what are you hoping to do next?
So Walk of Shame has been great. You know, just like any other film, you know, it takes time. Once it's finally out there, you're like, oh, what am I going to do now? You know, so right now, the Beaten Path is kind of turning into this, I'm calling it a digital collective. Basically, we're trying to focus on creating content for the web. I mean, that's where all the eyes are today. We're trying to brand that and have an emphasis on music, DJ culture, things that, you know, that's hip to younger audiences. And we're just trying to build this spirit of, like, youthfulness and I want to say attachment. I guess it's I call it monoculture. You know, today everybody's so scattered. We're all on our phones. We're all looking at things that we want to see when we want to see it.
Right.
There's not often a time for us to come together and really unite on those same things. So that's what it's about, and we're hoping to really broaden that into doing more series and other types of things in that vein. So
cool. And one more question about the Beaten Path for you. Obviously, yeah, you've won some awards with it. People have it's resonated with people. What do you think it is about the story that you're telling that's resonated with people? Is it a generational story? Is it something that anyone can sort of relate to? Tell me what it is that you think is sort of speaking to people about this project.
I think it's a little bit of that. I think, you know, a lot of people say, you know, when you look at a film, you know, hey, it's relatable. That's the reason, you know, I really like it. I think there's definitely relatable characters in our series. You know, we have Anna, who's, you know, the hopeless romantic, but then we have Theo, the DJ, who's, you know, he's kind of like the cool guy you always want to know. But I think the thing about our series that I think is the best thing is that, you know, it just feels cool. It's about, you know, the music and the way it feels when you're watching it. It's supposed to be an experience, and again, that kind of goes back to my love for Asian cinema. As I said that, it's like, you know, I really want you to be able to feel that experience. So I really view it as like a abstract piece, but it's also at the same time, it's I don't know, it's just very visceral in the sense that we all have experienced nights like this in our lives.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We're out of time right now, but Brandon Russell, everybody, kind enough to join us today. Thanks again, and it was very nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks.